Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. You know the name Tim Ballard. He was the inspiration for the runaway smash hit Sound of Freedom starring Jim Caviezel. He's got a new film out. It's entitled Hidden War, and it's again about child trafficking in some different theaters. Tim Ballard is a former U.S. Department of Homeland Security special agent who dedicated more than a decade of his career to fighting human trafficking and child exploitation. And he continues to do that. The real-life inspiration behind Sound of Freedom, the new documentary, Hidden War. Tim Ballard joins us now. Tim, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
So, Hidden War tackles a similar topic to that which was tackled in Sound of Freedom, because that's what you've been doing, is trying to combat child trafficking.
I'm in the reserves. I'm in the reserves.
So tell us the focus of Hidden War.
Well, Hidden War, I think, is more effective because it's all real. There's no actors. It's all, and we had a problem with Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom sat on the shelf for 5 years after it was made until Angel Studios finally picked it up. Then when it came out, we had so much opposition, theaters shutting down, all sorts of problems, and people made up excuses. They said we're QAnon. I don't even know what that is. Then they said,
yeah, right. I remember that.
And they said it's not real. It is real. It's based on a true story. But no, it's Jim Caviezel, not Tim Ballard. So our response is Hidden War. It's all real. The story's frankly just as exciting. They're billing it as a feature film, even though it's a docu-film, because it really plays like that. And no one has an excuse this time because everything's real, verified. And we start in the war in Ukraine. We went into the middle of the war zone to find children who were vulnerable. We found a trafficking ring that was trying to recruit, kidnap trafficking victims. And this group was born in Holland, and they were fugitives living in Latin America, building a child sex hotel. So in 4 months, we run through 6 countries, 3 continents, and dismantle the whole thing. So it touches every region of the world, and so everyone can kind of experience and learn what it's like in your region and how we can fight it. So we're hopeful.
I think this is sort of important too, because in terms of understanding where these dastardly enterprises begin. So why did you focus on Ukraine initially?
Well, it was interesting. So the war breaks out. My wife has an adoption foundation, and she was working on getting 6 kids home. They were coming home any week, and she came to me crying. She's like, "You got to go out there and find these 6 kids," And she did not want to do it. She's crying, but she felt really strong. And so I went with a team. We never found the 6 kids. We did find them. They were in Lithuania safe. But when we got there, we said, well, let's find other kids. And so we ended up getting 3,000 people out. But then while we were there, we found a lead we weren't expecting, which was we found these Dutch pedophiles trying to take these kids to South America to their sex hotel. So it's kind of developed as we went, and luckily we had cameras with us just because we were in a war zone. We thought it'd be interesting, and good thing we did, because then they just followed us.
Well, wait. You got 3,000 kids out of Ukraine?
We did, yeah. So when we got there, looking for the 6, and then Mel Gibson had called me and said he gave me a list of 20 kids at an orphanage that he supports. So we had like 25 kids to look for. And then we got to the authorities in Ukraine, and they gave us a list of 10,000 missing orphans that were somehow lost in the war. And we were able to get 3,000 of them out. And then during that process is when we found the lead.
And just before we get to that other part, just so you get that many kids out, and then what's the network you have to place those kids in homes where they're safe and so forth, and where?
So we were working very closely with the Ukrainian officials. Luckily, we had relationships with them, and so what we were doing was building aftercare homes in Lviv, which is the furthest away from the war zone on the western side, and then in Hungary and in Lithuania, we were finding shelters and taking them. The government officials were taking them and placing them in those homes until the war subsided. It was madness because we were kind of building the ship as we were sailing it, but it worked. We got these kids that we saw horrible things. Some caretakers had ditched the kids in orphanages. Some of the kids had already died of starvation. Yeah. It was a horrifying scene. We got kids on a bus, and then a bomb would go off behind us. It was pretty dramatic, just that part. And the little did we know we were about to find a trafficking ring that was in there trying to take the kids for different purposes. And that's where the movie really gets kind of exciting.
Well, yeah. So tell us a little bit about these sex trafficking operations, these pedophile rings. I mean, we hear a lot about this. We heard about the Pakistani rape gangs in England, and there's all sorts of conspiracy theories, or maybe just theories about pedophile rings in some of the upper reaches of elite society in the West. But it always seems to evade people's grasp or substantiation of what's exactly going on. So this seems like really important, in addition to obviously stopping predators.
Well, and this group is really, really kind of shocking. People are going to be shocked. These guys they're a group out of Holland. They had an organization called Martijn, and they're trying to change the laws in Holland so that sex is legal with children. They thought a child as young as 4 years old could consent to full-on sex. Yes. And so they're very open, and they marched in parades. They're trying to take hostage the LGBT movement. They put a petal butterfly on the rainbow flag and tried to pretend that they're a part of this group, which, they rejected them, thank God. And so then they end up getting arrested in 2022 for child crimes, and then they take off. And now they're hiding in Latin America, trying to rebuild their sex market, the child sex market. And that's where we, of all places, find them in Ukraine, trying to basically, populate that sex market. So it was crazy.
And what's the profile? Like how big is this? How big is the ring? What's the profile on the individuals who are part of this?
Oh, it's pretty big. They're not really centralized. But it's a network. They have, it's called freespeech.com. It's like a YouTube channel where they all talk. And so, like, after we arrested the leader in Mexico City, we infiltrated. I went undercover. So you're going to see us as military operators, undercover operators, police operators. Like it's you get to see everything.
But all the time you're working with the actual authorities in these countries. Always. So that they can be taken into custody.
Exactly. We can do things they can't do. We can move ways they can't move, but they do things we can't do in terms of the law and legal processes. So we have good relations with all these countries. So they love us because we bring them great cases. And so, we're in Mexico City working with the Mexico City police, and they did a fantastic job. We infiltrate, and we get the guy arrested. And the network starts publicly asking for my death and execution. I mean, it's in the documentary. You'll hear it like, we gotta hang Ballard. You gotta execute him. Like, these guys are aggressive, and what's scary is the pedophile movement is getting more aggressive as our culture is kind of getting weak, and it's so tolerant of everything that we're becoming tolerant of pedophilia. I mean, it's happening. Yeah. It's crazy.
No, we know minor attracted persons is what they call themselves.
Exactly, and that's what they want. They want LGBTQ MAP, and the LGBT are saying, no, hell no. We're not pedophiles, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hijack that movement, and they don't belong there.
So you go from Ukraine to Holland to Mexico and then to Ecuador.
Yes, we get to Mexico, and I won't spoiler alert it, but we do a pretty cool trick on the bad guy, and get him to reveal where his other two fugitive buddies are hiding, and they're hiding in Ecuador, and that's where the hotel is. They built this child sex hotel in this little village of very vulnerable children, and they're literally selling tickets to foreigners to come in and rape these children for fun. They have a hotel. It's like 20 rooms. So then at that point, the Ecuadorian National Police are just awesome. They bang down the door. We go in, and then madness ensues after that. But we win. We win in the end.
Well, I'm glad there's a good ending to all this, at least for those that you were able to come upon. So like, what should people know? I mean, just, I'm sure you have knowledge that extends beyond what you were able to do just in this, and that's documented in this movie. I mean, these child sex hotels, these rings, how prevalent is this in the West? We were just talking to a former director of ICE earlier in the program, and we were talking about, trafficking people into this country. And even if it's a mom trying to get her sons into this country, if you're dealing with traffickers, you're dealing with cartels, and you don't know who you're really dealing with. I mean, in terms of their capacity for evil. And so just trying to get like a handle on the scope of this problem. And I wonder if you have a better
It's massive. It's massive. People would be shocked. I mean, there's 30 million people enslaved today. Around 7 million of those are children, labor, sex, or organ harvesting. We've taken down organ harvesting rings of children in Nigeria and the Middle East. And it's the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world. And these sex hotels are everywhere. But what they do is they use borders and boundaries to hide their acts, because they know that sovereign nations can't move that fast across borders where they don't have sovereignty anymore. So they take the kid from one country, move him to another country, and now that kid has no ID, doesn't know the language sometimes, and that's how they do it. And that's why we exist, because we don't have borders and boundaries or jurisdictional limitations. So we rip through the countries, always delivering silver platter cases to whatever jurisdiction we're in. And we're trying to make it so we can coordinate better. The government officials are actually coordinating better even without us, because that's the key, because that's what the traffickers are using against us is the borders. I mean, look at, we've lost 400,000 kids between 2020 and 2024 because of the open border policy, which has let these guys in. And we think there's 400,000 children still in our sex markets in the United States, and we got to find them.
Yeah,
we haven't found them. We're working on that. So.
That's where I was going to go. Is actually, I know Tom Homan has talked about this, and they've identified just maybe 20,000 of the more than 100,000. You say 400,000. I don't know what the number is, but 20,000. Some of them are dead, unfortunately. But this policy of allowing unaccompanied minors to just enter the country and not vetting who their custodians are going to be and so forth. I mean, this is just ripe for these kind of predators, isn't it?
It's right for you. Wouldn't believe what they were doing. It's literally more difficult to adopt a cat from a shelter than it was between 2020 and 2024 to go down and claim to be the sponsor. They did no background checks, none. I mean, they were sending 20 kids a day to the same address. I mean, anyone could show up and say, "Oh, I'm Uncle Gomez, and this is my kid." I mean, it's insane. And these kids have been kidnapped. And in Ecuador, in Argentina, I go down to those countries and there's grieving parents. Where are our kids? I said, they're in my country. We're trying to get them. Bobby Kennedy's doing an excellent job. I'm working with him. Tom Holman's a good friend. These guys are awesome. You got the right people in there, and they know that they need to do something about it. General Flynn and I are good friends. So we're working up a plan right now to recover all these kids and get them back to their families.
Tim Ballard is former U.S. Department of Homeland Security special agent, dedicated more than a decade to fighting human trafficking and child exploitation, and he's still doing it, as you heard. He was the inspiration behind the hit film Sound of Freedom, and the new documentary to check out is Hidden War. Hidden War is the new documentary, and Tim, where can they see it?
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Theaters on November 14th, right? That's the
yes, sir. November 14th. Yep.
November 14th.
And call your theaters. When Sound of Freedom hit, they did the same thing. The bad guys, which are institutional deep stater guys mostly, who are trying to thwart it. It's happening already. So people need to call their theaters and tell them, we want you to show this movie, and don't do what you did with Sound of Freedom. That's very important. Hidden War. Tim Ballard. Thanks so much as always, Tim. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And Tim, join us in the turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sean Thompson here, and I'm with attorney Bert Hochberg from the law firm of Schiller, Ducanto, and Fleck. We're talking about divorce arbitration. This is not really a new, or is it a new, innovative way to go through divorce?
Arbitration has been around for decades. It's completely legit.